Hey guys and girls, welcome to the channel, and today we're taking a look at the DEERC D20 Beginner Mini Drone. This drone's been out a while. Matter of fact, I bought one about a year ago, but within 5 minutes of flying it, I wasn't using the prop guards on the inside of my house, and I put it into this light fixture. And what happens with these beginner mini drones is it's a brushless motor turning a gear inside here, and if you put these motors in a bind because you don't have the prop guards on, it strips that gear or it can burn up the motor. You hear a difference between brushed motors and brushless motors. Well, brushless motors are like two magnets that are spinning inside of each other, and they're powerful, but they're more expensive to make. So in these less expensive drones, they'll last a long time and you can have a lot of fun with them, but you got to cover the props if you're flying indoors or if you're flying outdoors and you're a beginner. Because if you stop these props from spinning, you're going to have a lot of troubles. So the DERC comes with a really nice remote, a really nice app. It's a 720p camera. It's got good flight time and a lot of power and different speeds. But it's got a lot of competition out there, and I'll go over that at the end when I review it. And I really like this the D23 that they just sent me, because this thing is cool. It lights up. Matter of fact, they sent me 3 more of these, and when the wind dies down, me and my friends are going to race these at night with some race skates I made if you saw my last video. And this drone is this price on Amazon right now. After I fly it, I'm going to show you how to get this remote bound to the drone, how to get the gyros calibrated, and how to get the Wi-Fi set up for the camera to work, and all the aspects that you need to know how to fly this. So if you bought it, congratulations, and I'm choosing a beginner mini drone first to learn the orientation of a drone instead of going out and buying an expensive drone. And if you're thinking about buying it, I'll compare it, because it's got some really tough competition out there now, because Holy Stone just came out with this HS430 that's got a 1080p camera, and this one's 720. So let's go put her up in the air, and then we'll go over everything, and then I'll come back for my final review. Alright guys, it's way too windy out here to do a voice recording, so I'm going to do a voice over while I fly it. If you're flying it outside and it's windy, go straight to speed 3. And I wouldn't even suggest flying it outside if it's your first time. If it's your first time, start indoors on speed 1, but really slow until you start getting used to it. Mini drones are so important to learn the orientation of a drone. So many people go out and they buy a really expensive drone and they don't know how to fly it. So what you want to do is you want to take this drone and keep flying it until you get used to it, until your subconscious takes over. Kind of like when you're driving a car, and I say this in all my videos, but you want to drive it until you don't even have to think about it. Let your dogs chase it around the house. Just keep flying it over and over. But it's best to have an agenda, not just flying it around aimlessly. Try to do figure eights, have it pointed at you and spin it around, have it pointed away from you and spin around you, and just try to constantly work on your skill set. That makes it more fun. That's why I think the new D23 is going to be so much fun, because it lights up at night and kind of just adds a whole nother aspect of being really fun because it lights up. So I know when you get the drone, you're going to be so excited to get up in the air that you don't want to go over the steps that I'm going to go over in a little bit inside. But you have to do that with $10,000 and $15,000 drones. They've got to get their gyros set and their compass calibrated. When this drone wants to take off, it doesn't know which direction it's going, so you've got to set the gyros. And you've got to go through, you've got to hook the Wi-Fi up to your phone to get the camera to work. And you've got to do it every time. After a while, you'll get used to it. At first, it may seem a little bit complicated, so make yourself a pre-start checklist. I didn't do it in the beginning, and I kept climbing trees to get the drones out. But after a while, you don't even think about it. You start realizing that you've got to go through that checklist every time. Right here, I'm at line of sight. That's about as far as you want to push this drone. The reception still seems to hold really good. I was going to edit this out, but I just wanted to show you that it will go to where you can barely see it. So if you don't know which direction it's going, don't let it keep flying away. Kill the motors, or if you're using the camera, try to look down at your screen and point it direct back at you. When you're using different drones and they tell you how far it is away from you, you can start looking at the numbers and seeing if you're coming back at you. But if it starts to go away, just kill the motors and walk over and get it. But don't do it if it's over water, right? So just one more tip for the day, and then we're going to go inside and I'll show you how good the camera works, is if you're flying it, don't be distracted. In other words, don't be talking to your friends or playing with your dog or looking at your phone. Concentrate on what you're doing, because it takes a while to get the orientation. Like when you first started driving, people are nervous because they're worried about everything around them, but after a while they just drive and they don't have to think about it. So until you can do that with this drone, try to keep your distractions away from you and be focused on what you're doing, and focus on what your fingers are doing. I mean, if you're 12 years old, you're going to get this in a 20 or 30 minutes, but an old guy like me, it's going to take 3 or 4 hours or a whole bunch of batteries to get it. So let's go inside. I'm going to show you how good the camera works. All right, well, here I'm flying it inside, trying to hold it as steady as I can. It's kind of hard with this little drone. It's going to be a little bit shaky, but the color saturation on it's really pretty good. I mean, when you think about a drone for $40 that you could actually do something like this, it takes good photos too. I'll show you that here in a minute. So just try to keep it as steady as you can if you're wanting to take selfies and stuff. So it's not really meant for videos. It's really meant for photos. You can see how it kind of shakes when you bring it around, but to have something that you can put in the air for $40 that could actually do this is pretty impressive. So let's sit down and let's go over all the aspect of how to get this drone to operate and put it in the air. All right, guys, let's see what she weighs in at. She weighs in at 66 grams, which is just a little bit less than the HS430, but a little bit more than the HS340, and more than the D23 that just came out. So how much is 66 grams? Well, 66 grams, about the same weight as 7 Twizzlers. Oh wait, no. It's about the same weight. It's about the same weight as 6 Twizzlers. So when you open the box, you're gonna get the drone, the remote, your prop guards that snap on the sides, and you're gonna get 2 batteries, and then you'll get 2 chargers. The light will be red and it'll go off when it charges. It takes about an hour, and you get about 6 or 7 minutes of flight time. You'll get extra props and a handy dandy screwdriver. So I do love the color of the drone. It's a nice chromatic look, and it unfolds. If you want to change the props, you got to pull this little piece off right here, and there's a screw right on top of that. And be sure and get the right ones. They are labeled A and B because the angle of attack is different on these. So it's got lights in the back and the front like you saw when I was flying it. I really like the lights, and it is 500 milliwatt amp battery compared to like this, the 430 has a 740. So on the bottom, it looks like it's an optical flow sensor, but it does have altitude hold. It's a 720p camera, and you can move it manually up and down. And I really like the lights in the front. And you saw that when it was the battery was starting to go dead, that these lights started blinking at you. So on the remote, it does take 3 AA batteries. Of course, your phone goes in here. You turn it on right here. And on the top, use your takeoff and landing button. This is your spin button, and if you hold it down for 2 seconds, it'll put it into headless mode. Don't ever use that. That takes away the orientation of the drone. This is your speed switch right here. If it's windy outside, go to higher speeds right away. A short press takes a photo, and a long press starts a video. Here's your trim button. So if the drone seems to be sliding a little bit to the left or to the right, you hold down on the trim button and you push this in the opposite direction of the way it's going. It takes a little bit of practice, but you'll get the hang of it. I love the way this remote feels in your hands. So to get the drone paired with the remote, you turn on the remote, you turn on the drone by pushing this little power button on the side right here. And the lights will be blinking. So it's not gonna take off. If you push the takeoff button, it's not gonna do anything because they're not paired. So how you get them to pair is you go up and down on the left side. Now they're quit blinking, but the gyro is not set. If you take off right now, it's gonna fly into the wall. So what you wanna do is you wanna point it away from you and pull down and to the left. But that sets the gyro. So now when you push the takeoff button, it'll take off and fly right. So I flew it with my phone, but I'm gonna show you on my iPad how to get that camera to work. So open up your camera. I forgot to mention it comes with a really nice instruction book. You go to page 14. You put your QR code in there. You open up that, it'll take you to the app. It's a DEFPV, and you open it up. But it's not gonna work. This is a Wi-Fi drone, so one of the most important things you gotta remember to get this to work is to go back to your settings, go to your Wi-Fi, touch DEERC, and now it's checked. So now it's connected. So now when you go back to the app, and you enter the device, the camera's working. It's got I love the color of it. It's really good for a 720p camera. And so on the app, I wouldn't use the app. I would just use the remote. I'm not even sure if the takeoff button will work. Yeah, see, the takeoff button doesn't even work. Just use the app. Just use this to look, but you can use it to take the photos and the videos. So if we point it outside, you see success, it took videos. Here's a little bit of a video. When we go back, we can actually go back to the gallery, which is right here. And you can look at the photos that we just took. Really nice to make selfies. Of course, the video, if you go back and look at the videos, it's kind of shaky. But for a budget drone, it does really well. So this is the new drone. This is the one I bought a year ago. And so let me show you what happens whenever you put these in a bind. Turn it on, bind it. But when I hit the takeoff button, look what happens. See, this one's not spinning because the gear's broke in it. So it's pretty much useless because I'd have to go in here and take this all apart and replace this little gear in here. At least I have an extra battery. And guys, you gotta go over these steps every time you change the battery. All right, so let's go back for our final review. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching my review of the DEERC D20. So what I think about this drone, I think it's a good value, but I don't think it's quite as good as the HS340 in that same price point, because this one's this price on Amazon right now, and this one's this price point, but I get 25% off. This thing has a better flight time and a better camera, and it functions just a little bit better. Even though this one flies really well. So if you bought this one, congratulations on buying a beginner mini drone first. But if you're gonna fly indoors, man, I would lean towards the D23, because this one has the fun factor of the lights, and the props are covered, and it's a fun drone, and it still has really good flight time also. So it's really nice to have a lot of different options out there though. This one's really cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the way it folds up and it can fit in your pocket, and it's got a lot of good features. So I have a lot more mini drone reviews coming up soon. So if you got something out of this, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.